you. A very good evening, good afternoon to you all, and thank you for being here. The Attorney General, Honorable Graham Leon, His Excellency Dr. Brian Jones, Mr. Wiley Clark, the President of Fiji Law Society, many friends in the room, distinguished guests. I would like to say thank you to Fiji Law Society for embarking on its first pro bono roundtable today. Wiley talked about aligning of stars. As you were talking about pro bono, I ended up in his office begging for help. I was asking, basically I was very concerned, I am very concerned, how do we reach out to the vulnerable for access to justice, and in particular, crimes against children and where perpetrators are also children. So Wiley shared about this project, and it gives me a lot of hope. However, with so many distinguished legal eagles in the room, and the last few days I didn't want to be here. I thought a roundtable would be a small get-together when we first talking, but we really have the powerhouse in this room that could really impact great change. Generosity and community giving is a natural phenomenon for us living in Fiji, and I'm sure in many parts of the world. And lawyers are the same as other Fiji citizens. Most law firms are able to share stories of their pro bono work. We certainly regularly needed it in the past decade. Some people are supported because of the goodwill, but pro bono, like Wiley said, is more for the greater good. And legal services are a bit like health and education services. There is unlimited demand for them. Outside the bubble of cities, if I may say, in a real world, people with teenagers who get into trouble with the police, people who have to chase their ex-spouses for maintenance, who get into disputes over small inheritance in a bank account, or struggle with land disputes after death of a breadwinner. Others who do not know how to reach out to anyone when they suffer environmental degradation or dumping of illegal rubbish on their property, which we often hear in media. Cyberbullying has taken over our world. There are those in our ministry that are where more troubling cases is child disability and elder abuse. We have a criminal law system that punishes the abusers, but nothing that supports the victims or enables them to compel others to give them redress. We say that everyone has legal rights, and of course we are told that our Constitution gives everyone fundamental freedom. But what use are those if people without any money cannot fully use them? I know this issue is not unique to Fiji. It is the same around the world. Here as elsewhere, people hold lawyers in a very high regard. Most who suffer injustice can only look longingly at you, wishing they could afford your services to get justice. And I know you must be inundated with requests for free legal service. And as I have said, demand is virtually unlimited, and I know supply is not. We have a statutory legal aid system. Unsurprisingly, it too is inundated with caseloads, I'm told, as high as 300 cases per legal aid or lawyer. So our question is, how could you help? In a country like ours, where most legal practitioners may be based in urban centers, how do we reach the rural, the maritime, people with difficulty with access? While our vulnerable need services, our young workforce need help with building capacity and mentorship, a legacy many of you will leave behind. We often hear that workers who come to you oftentimes lack soft skills, confidence, and networking opportunities. As we provide opportunities for them to be able to help, they gain new experience, gain confidence, and more than anything are able to network and will be greater asset to your company with their learnings. Speaking with younger people, we realize the struggle with social skills. Engaging in public good will not only help build their social skills and confidence, but also build empathy and an interest in nation building. I personally have seen some of the younger lawyers who have been engaged in some of the issues we have drawn them into. They get really agitated about what do we do to build better Fiji. I personally have felt, serving in different volunteer capacities, that I have gained much more than I have given. Not only skills, knowledge, but new perspectives and new ways of thinking. I used this extensively in my last workplace at Friend, the NGO that I founded, with innovation modeled on lessons learned from different parts of the world, but contextualized to Fiji. Having done global volunteerism from my mid-20s, I was not too set in my ways then, and it allowed me to absorb and to apply knowledge as we develop human capacity that in turn greatly benefits the organizations with whom those humans associate. So I would hope that well-organized, structured, and well-promoted pro bono services would not be seen as a burden, but as a benefit. In most areas of law, learning a new era, such as child maintenance or criminal procedures, add valuable skills. It's true that the law applies in the same way to everybody, so these skills that they gain will also help paying clients. If we focus on key deliverables for public good, we will be able to measure progress. We know where we are at the moment, and we'll be able to measure where we are in a few years' time. So success and impact of your team's involvement, that could be a great morale booster and help raise profile of your outfit. There is no reason why you should not promote to others the pro bono work you do. Good pro bono performers earn the respect of their peers and their clients, particularly at a time when consumers and shareholders expect corporate social responsibility from the companies they deal with, and society promotes an increasing focus on corporate ethical value. There are many ways that you could help. I'm no expert on this, but from my years of social services, I could at least share some of the demand. First, in a country like ours, most legal practitioners are based in urban centers. We understand that. This is where the courts are, that's where the main clientele is. They must be able to earn a living. But how do we help people, rural people living in maritime, in the highlands, gain access to these rights and information on the rights that they have? Let us not forget the changing social landscape. Not all rural people are poor, and they could also afford your services once they are aware of how to. I wonder if it is time for urban lawyers to take the time for rural outreach. I know in days gone by, the Young Lawyers Association used to do outreach work, so that the rural people could also learn about things that wills, probate, land, disability rights. Certainly we can try creative approaches using social media platforms with links to resources. We have many tech-savvy among us, and we devote so much time on social media today. And that gadget is available widely, even in the most rural areas. Our young could be digital creators of legal information. During the pandemic, I was actively involved in development of service delivery through telehealth. We could process food and livelihood applications through Google Forms and social media platforms when access was limited due to lockdowns. I've often wondered, why don't we use these services more to get services to people in Fiji and in the outer islands? Is it time for pro bono lawyers to actively promote telelaw maybe? Can we use those mechanisms to make services and information available to people in rural areas? Is it possible to have digital platforms downloading and uploading of forms, answers to frequently asked questions, and on basic legal forms and documents with step-by-step instructions? Even the little videos that we do and that could be uploaded easily. Many of our services to clients to be effective needs translation. In many situations, people who are not experienced are receiving last-minute advice from overworked legal aid lawyers trying to explain difficult concepts, and sometimes in language they do not understand. You can only, realize the impact it has on the client. Should we be translating more critical legal information to help people understand their rights, so that they have a reference point and the ability to study legal documents they receive, or which they must file with more time and in their own language through social media platforms? Can we use and work with existing institutions out there to more effectively promote the law and legal rights? We have justice of peace appointed throughout Fiji, in the most rural areas. Could they be trained or become a host of point for sharing of basic information and forms? We also have NGOs with existing networks. Look, for example, at Fiji Council of Social Services through their district networks, organizations of persons living with disabilities. We used to have paralegal training available in the past. I wonder if that's something that could be revived. Villages have volunteer health workers. Could we introduce human rights volunteers with legal packages, basic information? If they are simple FAQs, they could be transmitted through the advisory councillors, through maritime and in minority communities like Rambi Council, Melanesian communities could all benefit from such formats. Now, Fiji Sugar Cane Growers Council, Cane Growers Fund, serving more than 11,000 people, have legal officers who, I'm told, assist their clients with wills, probates, and in times of death, assist the families with probates and so on. Those are the networks that could be further strengthened or copied by provincial councils and other specialist organizations, Ginger Council, Kava Council, who have access in some of these areas. Civil society organizations are closer to the populace, but they too struggle with gaining donor funding and turnover of staff. Many can get program funding but struggle to get core funding so that they understand basic organizational work such as accounts, statutory filings, the importance of proper meeting procedures, employment law compliance, and so on. Some are unable to meet the statutory requirements and are deregistered. I'm grateful in my past life when we tried to build capacity, Munrolis and KPMG came on board, where we actively worked on with assisting many NGOs to retain the registration. There needs to be sustainability plan and capacity building for these NGOs. If NGOs are robust, they could also be a medium for access to materials and information. I know and appreciate the commitment from Fiji Law Society to community services, and as we engage with other partners, maybe more opportunities may seem feasible to ensure our most vulnerable have better access to justice. I must express my appreciation to the many partners here assisting Fiji Law Society in their ambitious journey. I'm sure we can learn from the experiences of Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. Our journey begins and is carried through with visionary leadership, and I wish to applaud Wiley Clark and his very committed team who have been plowing through to get us to this point despite all their efforts in meeting their own targets and supporting their own clients. I'm sure that with the commitment from all in this room, we could come closer to the dream, that we are truly able to serve those who are most in need and most vulnerable in our society. I believe personally that as advanced as we've gone with technology, with access, we should be able to do better than where we were 20 years ago. Our country cannot find peace, harmony, and prosperity if rule of law is compromised and justice is not accessible to all. So I hope that this workshop is the beginning of something big and that we will be able to make a real difference to ensuring that all our people, whatever their status in life, have easier access to law and better understanding of their rights. Thank you once again. I look forward to this evening's conversation.